So the second you start, you'll have to relearn your... So yeah, is it funny? Yeah, pretty funny. I want to see an intervention like... Oh, so hello gamers. There are a ton of things in this game that people do, and a lot of people will do these things that don't make any sense and are basically just objectively bad things to do. So today I'm going to be showing you 10 things you should never do in Phantom Forces. But yeah, let's get into it. The first thing you should never use is 223 on guns. That 223 makes no sense to use. A good example of this is the FAMAS F1. It is a 3-shot to a 5-shot. Now with 223, it goes from a 3-shot to a 5-shot to a 4-shot to a 6-shot, which basically means you just have worse hits to kill. Your time to kill is lower and your velocity is lower. The only advantage of this is you get slightly less recoil, but it's not a big deal, and the recoil on this gun is actually pretty low anyways. So it's an objectively worse ammo type, right? The thing about 223 is sometimes you get an extended mag from it, but on the FAMAS you go from 25 rounds in a magazine and 125 reserve to 25 rounds in a magazine and 125 reserve. You don't gain reserve, you don't gain ammo, you don't have an extended mag. If you had a little bit of an extended mag, maybe like 30 or 35 rounds, maybe it would be less of a downside, but it has a huge downside with essentially no upsides because the recoil is already pretty good. The gun also just sounds worse. Now you might be thinking, well, 223 is good on some guns, right? Now that is completely true, but the FAMAS is one of the guns you should never use it on. There are a couple other guns you should never use it on, but a good rule of thumb is only use it if you have an extended mag or you don't lose hits to kill. So you can use it on the HK416 because you don't lose any hits to kill, and you can use it on the M16A3 because you get an extended mag. But if you don't get either of those, there's no reason to actually use it. It essentially just nerfs the gun, so please do not use 223 on like the FAMAS or any gun like that. It just makes it objectively worse, so please don't use it. For some reason, I just pulled out the C7A2 for the next one, but the next one is really simple. It's about disabling muzzle flash. Now, a lot of people just tell you, disable muzzle flash. You don't need a flash hider, just disable muzzle flash. The problem with disabling muzzle flash is that not only does muzzle flash not really matter on most guns, if you disable your muzzle flash in settings, you actually lose something pretty big, which is other people's muzzle flash. Yes, you can't see other people's muzzle flash anymore. If you can't see other people's muzzle flash and they're shooting at you from range and they're like prone or something, it's going to be a little bit harder to see people, and I would recommend leaving it on. The only gun that has a big problem with the muzzle flash is of course the PPSH, but I would recommend using like the long barrel and alt aiming or using the AMT Terminator. If you use the long barrel, the flash is farther away from where you're actually looking, so that way it doesn't really get in your line of sight as much. But remember to just press T when you spawn or buy the AMT Terminator. The next thing is using suppressors basically ever. Let's take the intervention for example. It has a very far torso kill, and that is one of the biggest reasons to use it. It also has a lot of muzzle velocity. However, when you use a suppressor on it, not only do you lose your torso kill, but also a ton of your muzzle velocity. It goes to like OS muzzle velocity and no ability to body shot. So you have to hit a headshot, and also you have bad velocity to boot. So it's harder to hit shots, and when you hit shots, it doesn't matter because it won't kill. Using a suppressor in this game, there's really no reason to do so, because here's the thing. Look at that. It doesn't even torso kill. If you ever see a low rank using a suppressor on the intervention, maybe tell them to take it off because they can no longer actually kill you. Also, you go from having basically no drop to actually having some drop. Also, you can just use a muffler on a bolt action, which is the only time that a suppressor is actually kind of helpful when you're covertly sniping or something. If you're using like a PDW, it doesn't really matter. An assault rifle doesn't really matter. And in an automatic gun, you need to use like a compensator or something. And listen to this, okay? But the next tip is to not use the vertical grip on basically any gun except for very specific guns. So this is the normal recoil of the MP7, right? Yes, I got the same spawn, okay. And now this is from the exact same spot. You can see this is the recoil without, and this is the recoil with the vertical grip. As you can see, there's actually a little bit more recoil, and at range, that's going to be a big difference because I'll just show you. This is with the stubby grip, right? Now this is with the vertical grip. As you can see, holy, there's actually more recoil. We'll do it from back here, okay? So this is the recoil with, oh shoot, I just threw a nade. This is the stubby grip, right? Alright, so that's the recoil, and this is the vertical grip. As you can see, it's a lot less accurate. Basically, what the vertical grip does is it doesn't actually reduce recoil. What it actually does is makes your hip fire better and your recoil recovery speed better, which on high fire rate guns, that doesn't matter. Your gun shoots too fast to actually recover fully, or basically at all, and your hip fire is nice, right? But the stubby grip actually helps your hip fire as well. Maybe not quite as much, but it actually reduces recoil, and the vertical grip actually increases your kick. And if I'm looking at this, this is way more kick, and then if I switch over to my stubby grip one, it's like, okay, this is actually way less. If you look at the hip fire patterns, it's going to be like, this is the vertical grip and this is the stubby. So if you only hip fire, maybe it would be helpful, but on most guns, especially assault rifles, which have really bad hip fire, or like anything that's not a PDW where you just don't have good hip fire, do not use the vertical grip. If you use the vertical grip on a sniper rifle, it will increase the time it takes to aim down sights because it slows your aim down sight speed. So if you want slower aim down sight speed, I guess use it, but most people want faster aim down sight speed. Another thing is to false vote kick. Don't vote kick somebody for doing well or something. If you think think they're aimbotting, then it's okay to vote kick them and leave it up to the server to get rid of them. Luckily, vote kicking only removes people from the server, and they can rejoin a different server and just keep playing the game. But if somebody is actually just like on a 100 kill game or something, please just don't vote kick them for no reason. Another tip is just for this one gun, the AN94. Do not use the AN94 on burst. So basically you can see, okay, it has this 2-shot burst, right? But now if I use this automatic mode, it's automatic and I want the 2-shot burst. But fun fact, I'm still on auto and I can now burst it. This is because when you shoot this thing in automatic, it actually bursts and then fires in automatic, which means you actually get the burst and the auto at the same time. So don't switch it to burst, just only click once, especially when you consider you have to press V twice to turn back to the burst. And going between burst and auto is not really that effective, but luckily they added the safeguard where you can actually just burst it when you want to and don't burst it when you don't. And even if you use the muzzle booster, you can still burst it. It has a little bit more recoil, but it still bursts. There's really just no reason that you should ever be using this thing on burst, even back when you can macro the burst and have like 1,000,000 RPM. Fun fact, the only way to macro the burst was to use it on automatic. That's right, it would actually just click it very fast on auto. You couldn't do it on the burst mode, you had to be in auto. Plus the burst is only really good for very specific situations, so it's really nice that you get the benefits of both without having to switch fire modes every 1 second. But yeah, if you're an A94 user, please do not use it on burst, only use it on auto. There's no reason to use it on burst, literally ever. Next up, we're going to use this on the M60, the Halbeck device. Do not use the Halbeck device. If you want to use it as a meme and you don't actually think it's going to be that good, you can use the suppressor on the intervention as a joke or something, that's fine, but I'm just saying, if you actually want to perform better, do not use the Halbeck device, because the Halbeck device does not lower recoil, it reverses recoil, but it doesn't lower it. So if you use the muzzle brake, it will lower the recoil, or the compensator, and it will actually not reverse your recoil and make it really hard to hit stuff. This is not helpful on any gun, not that I know of. Like, it's just annoying. It's just like, okay, now I have to look down here and try to hit them. It doesn't even shoot where your laser is pointing. It doesn't even make any sense. Now, if I wanted to use the muzzle brake, look at this. It has recoil, but at least it reduces the recoil and it's not going down, you know? If the Halbeck device reduced recoil, not only reversed it, but actually reduced the recoil as well, then it would be pretty good. Like, that's like the muffler. The muffler will lower your RPM, but will reduce recoil. At least it has a little bit of reason to be used, but the Halbeck device just doesn't have any reason to use. So please just do not use it. Now you might think, okay, the Halbeck device is fine to use on this because it only has 1 shot, but like, I remember thinking, okay, I can just put this on my SFG50. It'll be just a meme. It won't actually help at all, but like, it is not helpful. Unless you want to completely relearn all your muscle memory, there's no reason to actually do this. Look at it. It just goes down. It's impossible to hit stuff. And also, the second you start using something that isn't the Halbeck, you will not be able to use it. You'll have to relearn your muscle memory every time you switch guns. So yeah, is it funny? Yeah. Honestly, it could be pretty funny. I want to see an intervention like, oh, I'm so good. If somebody could make a montage that's only intervention with Halbeck device, that would be really funny. But I'm just saying, if you want to perform well, don't use 223, don't use like suppressors on nothing, don't use a vertical grip on every single gun, don't use the Halbeck device. These are just some tips that are generally just gonna be better. You could do them if you want to, but like, I'm just saying you probably shouldn't do these things. Our last 2 tips I can just put together. They're not similar at all, but it doesn't require me to go back and get a different gun or something. The first tip is to not use armor piercing on any gun that's 9x19, 9x whatever. It doesn't matter. If it has less than like a stud of pen, armor piercing is literally useless. But let's take the Colt SMG 635 or 633. So it has 0.5 studs, right? Not a lot. So you probably think, okay, armor piercing. Yes, this is gonna half my 3-hit kill range, but I really want to get more pen. You go from 0.5 to 0.7. You gain 0.2 studs of pen. What this means is you can now penetrate like no more walls, because 0.5 to 0.7 is basically a negligible difference, and you lose half of your 3-hit kill range, which basically makes the K7 an upgrade to the Colt SMG at that point. So please do not use armor piercing on literally any gun that has 0.5 studs. Any gun that has like less than 1 stud, don't use AP on it. But the last thing involves grenades. Now people are probably thinking, okay, I'm gonna nade somebody. Oh wait, I can't say that. I don't think I could say that either. I don't know. Susan, please help me. What am I supposed to say? You might think, hey, I want to hold on to my grenade when I die and then blow them up, right? What just happened a second ago is a perfect example. So look, I have this frag grenade out. I'm going to keep holding it and I'm going to die, and the frag grenade, it just disappears. This game literally devolved somehow. You used to be able to play the game and like, if you were holding a frag and you died, it would just stay there and then you could, kill somebody with the frag. But now if you hold a frag grenade out and you die, it just disappears. And this is an important tip because it literally works every time, is to let go of your frag when you die. If you're low HP and you're about to die and you're like, oh no, I'm about to die, I need to get the kill with the frag. Let go of the frag because you have way more chance of actually killing a guy with a frag if the frag doesn't despawn. Hey, see where it goes. If it throws really far, it's better than it just despawning. But yeah, oh wait, I just didn't take the hill there. I think that just about does it for the video. I looked at my list and that was all 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's go for 1K likes on this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.